So many times in my clinical practice, women would present complaining of pain during sex, intercourse, lack of sexual desire. And when you really got down to it, these were much larger, more complex issues that I felt like my training was only scratching the surface, that they went much further and deserved to be examined on a more deep level. And I feel like that's what the work of Somatic Sexual Wholeness is doing. It's really getting to the root causes of how we exist in our bodies and how our bodies can relate to other bodies.
My greatest takeaways with this experience was being completely surprised the amount of trauma that was stuck in my body. I had no idea. I'm a functioning, awesome person. I had no clue there were layers of real terror that, as I began to relax into the sessions, would come up in the form of this like tetanus in my arms that was so painful, and fear in my body, not logical at all. Fear of being hurt or taken advantage of. And the exquisiteness of the sessions is that I was in a safe place, a professional place, a loving place to not be judged and to be guided through to release these in a healthy, lasting way that led me to places of peace, bliss, and what it really feels like to be, I know we throw the word around goddess, but like I felt like a goddess, deserving of honor in a way that I'd never experienced before.
Because I went through a fair amount of radiation, my tissues were incredibly friable and dry and painful. And so some of the best benefit of this work was an unbelievable softening and expansion and a reclaiming of my tissues and my ability to feel pleasure. But I also want to talk about, and it's maybe easier to use a metaphor. Let's say I was terrified of sharks. Rahi, being the incredible ally that he was, it was like him taking my hand and walking up to the edge of the water, and with exquisite patience standing a foot deep, allowing my system to recalibrate to what water felt like. Slowly and with no agenda, we would go more deeply into immersion until before I knew it, I was swimming buoyantly and playing in the ocean. And I now can go swimming by myself.
I was able to give birth at home, and I really believe that if I hadn't had that session and cleared that emotion, it would have prolonged my labor and it would have been very difficult to proceed. I had a very large baby, and not only did the session with Rahi clear any emotion or stagnation there, but it gave me a confidence, and I was really in communication with that part of my body. I wasn't detaching from it, I was connected to it. I had my hand there. I was in communication with it, and that, I believe, is what enabled me to give birth to such a large baby without tearing and in 11 and a half hours.
What I love about Somatic Sexual Wholeness is it's meeting the woman or man where they are at that moment in their journey, and really doing a deep dive into all of the issues, their sleep patterns, their stress levels, their diet, their activity levels, their relationships, their communication habits. And because all of these things are so essential to our experience of sexuality.
I think one of the things that just continues to surprise me about the reproductive system is that we lodge emotion in there that doesn't have anything to do with sex. And you think, oh, this is my sexual center, it's all going to be about sex or sexual trauma, but I remember one of the biggest releases in the session was my fear around not being a good mother and her father not being a good enough father, and were we going to be good enough parents? It's like, what's that doing in my cervix? But that was there. So I guess that was surprising about the session, that fear was there to be released.
And I learned that I had such a small capacity to receive, that I had quite a safety people pleaser thing going on. I could give up to others and inspire others, but to actually put down my walls, open my heart, receive to the core without feeling terrified, I had not gotten there yet. And through these sessions, I've been able to experience a peace on the planet, ease in my body, receiving of, like, statistically more money in my career, more success in my career, more attention from noble, kind men, a deeper connection with my son. The list goes on of so much that's been waiting there for me to receive. I just couldn't do it until I went through, which took courage to go through a lot of the processes over the series of sessions.
So one of the most unique things about this work is the synergistic effect of the trifecta, if you will, of the TRE, the sensual massage, leading into the inner pelvic work. TRE prepares the nervous system, taking it out of fight or flight and putting it into the receptive parasympathetic mode, so that anything you do subsequently is exponentially more effective. The massage then starts to cultivate the ability to hear what actual receptive states feel like. That sets the stage for the inner pelvic work, and when one is prepared, then the tissues can actually give authentic feedback rather than communicating layers of defense. And so you can explore effectively and actually have a full body gestalt to your healing journey. So it is a beautiful and ethical way of approaching the body.
It's a safe space. It's a space where a woman can learn to become aware of the full range of expression of sexuality, can learn a language to communicate that, can really tap into the full potential of what her body and her mind and her spirit are able to experience. And from that place of wholeness, you can then take that out into the world, and every experience you have will be so much richer and more rewarding.